Jai Gurudev children, today we are going to start next chapter, Packing from Beehive. Let me tell you something about the chapter. The chapter Packing is taken from the novel Three Men in a Boat, written by Jerome K. Jerome. The story is about the art of packing. The chapter is about a humorous incident which happened when the narrator and his other two friends were packing for a boat trip. Some main characters in the chapter are Jerome, Harris, George, and Montmorency. Jerome, the narrator, who considers himself to be the master of packing. Harris, a friend of the narrator, who irritates him by raising his legs on the table when the narrator was packing the bag. George, another friend of the narrator, who sat on the chair while the narrator was packing the bag. Montmorency, he was a pet dog of the narrator. He irritated George and Harris by sitting on things that were to be packed. He was chased down by Harris. Now come to the summary part. The narrator was going on a trip with his friends George and Harris. He told them that he would do the packing. They accepted his offer and relaxed while he packed the bag. The narrator's real intention was to supervise his friends in packing. He wanted to teach his friends how to pack. However, they misinterpreted him and as a result, narrator had to do the packing. The narrator started packing. It took him a bit longer than he had expected. He packed the bag but forgot to put the boots inside. So, he had to reopen the bag and put them in. He forgot whether he had put his toothbrush in the bag or not. So, he had to open the bag again and empty its contents. He put the contents back in the bag by shaking them one by one and found his toothbrush inside the boot. He had to reopen the bag once again as he had forgot his spectacles in the bag. George asked the narrator whether he had packed the soap or not. The narrator got extremely angry hearing this as he had already opened and packed the bag a few times. So, George and Harris took the task of completing the rest of the packing. George and Harris commit a lot of mistakes while packing. They broke cups, put things behind them and couldn't find them when they needed them. Packed heavy things on the top of light things and stepped on things. Montmorency, narrator's pet dog, came and sat down on things, put his leg into the jam and scattered the teaspoons. He went into the hamper and attacked 3 lemons thinking them to be rats. He was shooed away by Harris. Finally, the packing ended late in the night at 12:50 a.m. The 3 friends were very tired and decided to sleep. Before sleeping, they had an argument about when to wake up in the morning. Now let's have a paragraph-wise explanation of the chapter. We are going to read first 4 paragraphs. I said I would pack. I rather pride myself on my packing. Packing is one of those many things that I feel I know more about than any other person living. It surprises me myself sometimes how many such things there are. I impressed the fact upon George and Harris and told them that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to me. They fell into the suggestion with a readiness that had something uncanny about it. George spread himself over the easy chair and Harris cocked his legs on the table. This was hardly what I intended. What I had meant, of course, was that I should boss the job and that Harris and George should potter about under my directions. I pushing them aside every now and then with, "Oh you, here, let me do it." There you are, simple enough. Really teaching them, as you might say. They're taking it in the way they did irritated me. There is nothing does irritate me more than seeing other people sitting about doing nothing when I am working. I lived with a man once who used to make me mad that way. He would loll on the sofa and watch me doing things by the hour together. He said it did him real good to look on at me, messing about. Now I'm not like that. I can't still sit still and see another man slaving and working. I want to get up and superintend and walk around with my hands in my pockets and tell him what to do. It is my energetic nature. I can't help it. However, I did not say anything but started the packing. It seemed a longer job than I had thought it was going to be, but I got the bag finished at last and I sat on it and strapped it. "Aren't you going to put the boots in?" said Harris, and I looked around and found I had forgotten them. That's just like Harris. He couldn't have said a word until I had got the bag shut and strapped, of course. And George laughed, one of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. They do make me so wild. Jerome thought that his ability to pack luggage was better than others. He asked his friends George and Harris to leave the task of packing to him. The two friends agreed to his offer instantly, which was strange. George sat comfortably on the easy chair and Harris bent his knees as he sat on the sofa and kept his feet on the table. By saying that he would pack, the writer did not mean that his friends would sit and relax while he would do all the work. He had meant that he would pause upon them while they would do all the chores. He would nag them and curse them for not knowing the work well, and then he would chip in to sort out the mess that they would create. He was irritated to see them sitting while he did all the work. He recollects that once he lived with a man who would sit lazily on the sofa all day through and would watch the writer do all the work. The man would say that he enjoyed watching them go around doing all the work. This would make the writer mad with anger. The writer adds that he could not sit idle and watch others work like slaves. On the other hand, he liked to check their work, walk around with his hands in his pockets, and direct them on how to do the work properly. He feels that as he was energetic, it was a part of his nature to behave in that manner. The writer did not say anything to his friends and started packing. As he closed it, Harry said that he had forgotten to pack the boots. The writer felt that Harris could have reminded him before he had closed the bag, but he thought that Harris was like that. This was followed by an irritating laughter by George, which made Jerome wild with anger. Next, I opened the bag and packed the boots in. And then, just as I was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to me. Had I packed my toothbrush? I don't know how it is, but I never do now whether I have packed my toothbrush. My toothbrush is a thing that haunts me when I am traveling and makes my life a misery. I dream that I haven't packed it and wake up in a cold perspiration and get out of bed and hunt for it. And in the morning, I pack it before I have used it and have to unpack again to get it. And it is always the last thing I turn out of the bag. And then I repack and forget it. And have to rush upstairs for it at the last moment and carry it to the railway station wrapped up in my pocket handkerchief. Of course, I had to turn every mortal thing out now. And of course, I could not find it. I rummaged the things up into the same state that they must have been before the world was created and when chaos reigned. Of course, I found George's and Harry's 18 times over, but I couldn't find my own. I put the things back one by one and held everything up and shook it. Then I found it inside a boot. I repacked once more. When I had finished, George asked if the soap was in. I said I didn't care a hang whether the soap was in or whether it wasn't. And I slammed the bag shut and strapped it and found that I had packed my spectacles in it and had to reopen it. It got shut up finally at 10:05 p.m. and then there remained the hampers to do. Harry said that we should be wanting to start in less than 12 hours' time and thought that he and George had better do the rest, and I agreed and sat down and they had to they had a go. They began in a light-hearted spirit, evidently intending to show me how to do it. I made no comment. I only waited. With the exception of George, Harris is the worst packer in this world. And I looked at the piles of plates and cups and kettles and bottles and jars and pies and stoves and cakes and tomatoes, etc., and felt that the things would soon become exciting. It did. They started with breaking a cup. That was the first thing they did. They did that just to show you what they could do and to get you interested. Then Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squashed it, and they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon.